Hello, and welcome to the Grow Beyond the Budget podcast. I am so excited for you all to be here. This podcast is a podcast where we are going to be talking about how your life and money are really connected and how to use your money so that you can create an intentional life, a life that you love, the life of your dreams, and the life that you see in your visions. And so I am a wife of almost 11 years, a mother of three, a DMV native. I still reside in Maryland. And I am also a money coach. I am a certified money coach. I'm the founder of the Lotus Legacy, which is a financial coaching business that launched in 2020. And then I'm also a master mindset coach. But I got here because I did not grow up learning about money. I grew up in a household where that was not something that was explicitly taught. Going into adulthood was a culture shock, right? From not learning about how to manage and use money intentionally and effectively to being an adult and having money come to me, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Just about any and everything that you are not supposed to do with your finances, I've done it. From maxing out your credit cards to overdrafting my account to pulling out money from my 401k. My car almost got repoed. Like, you name it, I have pretty much done it. And I'm not saying that as bragging rights, but it was definitely part of my story and part of my journey, which is how I got here. And so I went into my marriage with this kind of like YOLO attitude when it came to money in, money out. As soon as money came, I had this impulse to spend it, and I was not using money intentionally. And so when my husband and I got married, going into my marriage with that sort of mindset, and my husband being the very sweet, patient man that he is, and wanting me to be happy, he, enabled me to do these things with our finances. And not saying that it was all me, but I can take credit for a lot of things. We racked up $91,000 of debt within like an 18-month period. I go more in depth in this story. You'll hear more pieces as the podcast comes out, but we went into $91,000 in debt. I call it foolishness debt now, because looking back, these were things that we could have planned for. These were things that could have been avoided. These were things that we could have just been more intentional about, and then we wouldn't have gotten in that position. And so, from buying a new car as soon as I had my first kid to, just all these different things, maxing out credit cards for Christmas decorations. Y'all, I've done it. And again, not as bragging rights, but just to kind of just show you that I did not always have it together, right? And so our story took a turn when I got pregnant with my second child. I live in the DMV, y'all. The price of things is very high here. And when I got pregnant, my husband and I were trying to decide if I was going to continue working or if I was going to become a stay-at-home mom. And at that time period, I was working retail part-time. So it wasn't like I was bracketing the dough with what I was doing in my job. So we decided that I was going to be stay-at-home mom. But it was during that process of us looking at our numbers and looking at the finances that we realized how much debt we were in. We really had no idea how much debt we had accumulated because we were just taking on payments. Like, oh, okay, that's an extra $25 a month. We got that, right? Like, or this credit card will cost us an extra, or this payment will cost us an extra $100 a month. And so we just took on payments and didn't really process and pay attention to how much debt we had accumulated. So when we realized that, I have like what I call like my That's So Raven moment, where I saw my life and like what would happen on two ends of the spectrum if I did things differently, and then if I kept on the path that I was on. And on the path that I was on, what I saw was financial stress. I saw financial chaos. I saw a possible divorce. I saw just a life of struggle. And I was very familiar with that life because there's so many people that I have seen in my life that have chosen that lifestyle and that have let that lifestyle be their compass. And I knew that that was not what I wanted. On the other side of that, I saw financial safety and security. I saw my kids going on vacations. I saw my husband and I very much together. I saw like one of my kids was graduating from college, and the look of pride that I had on my face, y'all, it made me feel like I had something to do with that. Like they went to school with no student loan debt, right? I felt really good about the choices that we made for them. I saw my daughter get married, and again, a look of pride was like, okay, yep, mama's fronted the bill for this one, right? I saw me and my husband like growing old and traveling. We were on an Alaskan cruise. I saw these things so clearly that I knew in that moment that I had to do things different. Like this was a fork in the road, and I get to choose. Like this, the Matrix, right? You get the red or the blue pill. Which one are you going to choose? And I chose to do things differently. So throughout this podcast, you'll hear more pieces of this story as I go more in depth about how that transformation came about and the journey that happened after I made that decision, because it's not just you make a decision one time and then you're set for life. It is a series of decisions that you have to make in order to make progress. We were able to successfully pay that debt off in 3 years, y'all, and I haven't looked back. We are now on the trajectory to build wealth for ourselves and for our children. The things that I saw in my vision are starting to come to life, and it's all because I made a choice to do things differently. In this podcast, I really want you to start to connect with how you are seeing your finances and how you can start to use them in a way that aligns with the life that you want. All right. So next week in the first episode, we are going to go into what the GROW framework is all about. The GROW in Grow Beyond the Budget is actually an acronym, and it's a compass that I use with all of my clients. And I want you to take this with you too. When you are trying to create change in your life and in your finances, I want you to start with the G, which is your goal. What is the end result? What are we working towards? Then this next step is the R, the recognition. What is currently happening in your finances, in your headspace, in your heart space? What are you currently doing that is an assessment of where you are right now? And the O stands for your outline, right? Which is where you start to bridge that gap from where you want to be to where you are now. And then the last letter, the W, which is my favorite because everybody can make a plan and everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And we know life has hands. The last letter of the GROW framework stands for W, which is work. Okay, we have to do the work. And this is an ongoing process. This is a journey. A lot of us are talking about creating financial changes and creating shifting generational cycles. And those are things that are going to take time. Those are things that take intention. And it is a journey. It is not a process or not a one-time thing. So I hope that you are excited about this podcast. In the podcast, you will hear from me, your guide and your coach along the way. I am very excited to share all of the gems and things that I have learned throughout my personal journey and the journeys that I have seen of clients that I've worked with, in addition to bringing on guests that will help you and as we have conversations that will help you start to see your money in a way that isn't just a budget. It's not just a spreadsheet. The finances that we are going to be managing and stewarding reach and extend to so many different areas of your life. And I'm really excited to bring on some phenomenal guests that will help me highlight how your finances are interconnected with all of these different areas of your life. And so I hope that you are ready to grow beyond the budget, because this podcast is really going to be one of those things that can help you change your life. So make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast so that you will be the first to know when new episodes air. And I can't wait to see you all next week. Keep growing.